Hello, good morning. Welcome to Ice Cream Uploads here on Friday, the 19th of August. I hope that you've all had a fantastic day so far. It is 25 past 11. Now, for those of you that haven't been here since 11 o'clock when the stream went live, we did have some technical difficulties beforehand, but that is the beauty of it being on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. We go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish. Again, it's 25 past 11. We did have some technical difficulties. They've been sorted out, but again, the beauty of being on twitch.tv is the guys that are in here nice and early get to see all the malfunctions and how we managed to overcome them. We've rolled this right back to the beginning again. For those of you that have missed that, that's your fault. You're never going to see it again, obviously, unless you go back onto our twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads page. Then you'll be able to see it from the absolute start before we re-rolled the videotapes, which is obviously what you're seeing now, a minute and a half into this podcast. So I hope that you're all having a fantastic day so far. My name is We've Got a Beanio, aka Bib, aka Top Guy Bib. Usually we have Graham in here as well. He is usually the driver of this podcast. He is usually the host. I'm usually the co-host. However, he is taking the day off. I hear you say, why is he taking the day off? And that is because he is going to be out of the country. He's going to be at Gamescom all next week, flying on Monday, and then returning towards the end of the week. That means that there will only be me on this podcast for the next week. You lucky sods. However, that being said, Tuesday is the only day next week that Tuesday next week that hopefully you're not going to get an episode of The Scoopies, because we're doing super top secret things that we can't talk about until we can, because we are NDA'd to the ass. I can't wait to be able to talk about all of the things that we are able to talk about as and when, but I'm being super secretive because I do not want to be sued to the absolute ass. So Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week, you're going to be getting an episode of The Scoop from me, just me, which is usually classed as a dollop. We go for about 40-45 minutes with the video game news, as this is the UK's #1 video game podcast, even if we do say so ourselves. We've already gone through the spiel that we go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m.-ish. But this podcast is made up of a few things. Our thoughts and opinions. But our thoughts and opinions are based on your thoughts and opinions, as this show is shaped by you guys. We ask you guys to submit video game articles with your thoughts and opinions. We will then give our thoughts and opinions on your thoughts and opinions. And that is why we do this live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads each and every single weekday. Because we want to hear what you guys have to say. We want to hear what you guys have to say about what we have to say. And the merry-go-round keeps on turning. My throat is still hurting from last Saturday, by the way. Like, I don't remember screaming. I do remember laughing extremely hard, but my voice is still fucked and my throat is still sore. So if it starts to go halfway through this podcast, you understand why. I don't know why. It's something to do with what I mean. I have no idea. From my side, I don't think I scream that loud, which I usually do when I'm playing video games. I do. But anyway, that's besides the point. That's just a little disclaimer in there. We do have 4 news stories today. We did have a few more that I put in there, but because it's only me talking, I'm afraid certain there is no way that I'm going to be doing this podcast for an hour and a half like we usually do. So I do apologise about that. But I'm giving you 4 news stories. What more can you ask for on this fine day? But we will beginning today's show with the fact that Dead Island 2 looks like it's going to be hitting store shelves, or it's going to be appearing very, very, very soon. It's a game that I've been looking forward to for the longest time. It's a video. This is something that I actually explained in the prelims beforehand. My content creation career started about nearly 10 years ago, and the very first thing that I did was start writing reviews for video games. Now, a lot of them never aired because, one, I was lazy and I couldn't be asked recording them all. I always wrote the scripts. I always started to capture the stuff, but I could never be bothered putting it together because I didn't know how to video edit correctly. That's all changed now. Obviously, I know how to do that stuff. I know how to use Photoshop. Nowadays, if I wanted to write a review for a game, I could get it done in 4 hours. No problems. It'd take me longer to be able to capture the stuff that I wanted to put in the video. But back then, 10 years ago, 21-year-old Bibby who wanted to get into the world of journalism, despite having terrible grammar and terrible everything else, words, as you can tell, he wanted to get into some sort of video game journalism because I have a lot to say about video games. And I do feel like sometimes my opinions can be a bit erratic because I do play a lot of video games, a lot of different genres of video games. So I do think that sometimes a perspective from that side of things is probably required. that is exactly where we've ended up with this. Dead Island was the very first game that I wrote a review, and it did actually get put on YouTube. It is now hidden, so you cannot see it anymore because it's a terrible video, because it was my very first video. But we've come a long way since then. So yes, that will be the first news story of the day. We do have some other video game news to go over, as well as your favourite segment, Free Game Friday. Usually this would be where I put a jingle in, but I don't think it's very apt when I'm doing it on my own. It just sounds a bit daft. Unhide it, you whopper, says Nietzscheo. We do have a lot of people in the chat. I already called them out. So again, thank you very much, Nietzscheo. Thank you very much, Lotus, Colonel, Rumpig, Naked Neil, Lake, Gagad, Mrs. Lotus, all you guys that have joined us nice and early, Lazar the Greek, all you guys that joined us nice and early for this one when we went live. I do appreciate you guys, and also to you guys that listen to all these podcast platforms later on in the event. I need to know more from Nacho. I need to know whether or not he's still enjoying playing South Park, The Stick of Truth, because I actually give a recommendation on Monday about one of the best games I have ever played. It's in my top 5 games of all time, because I love South Park, and it was the first South Park game that I actually thought, do you know what? This is probably worth your money, because it just felt like I was watching an episode of South Park. It was that good. He has since bought it, which obviously makes us influencers now, clearly. And I need to know whether or not he's still playing it and he's still enjoying it, because I'd find it very difficult to find someone who does like South Park that doesn't like that game, essentially. Lazar says, Dead Island 2, oh my god, still remember playing the first one as Sam B, which, by the way, I actually put as the music for this episode of The Scoop today over on our Instagram stories and on YouTube, on Facebook too. That Hoodoo You Voodoo Bitch. What a fucking tune that was. But that was the title song for the original Dead Island. It's actually on Game Pass, and I downloaded it maybe about 2 months ago, and I'm halfway back through it again. Loved it. Dead Island Riptide as well, fantastic. But there's definitely no way that I'm unprivatizing that fucking Dead Island stuff. It sounds ridiculous. Colonel says, "Wow, whoa, why hide it?" Because it wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. I'm proud of all of my work because of where we've come from, where we started, and where we're up to now. But in terms of production value, and I didn't even have again. This is going back 10 years. I had a minimum wage job. I didn't have that much money. I still lived with, obviously now, my wife. And it wasn't very good. I talked about the camera that I have now, which I've still got. It's not as my main camera. It's just as another camera for a different camera angle of the room. But the microphone within that camera is the microphone that I used, and it doesn't sound very good. Again, I'm proud of all my work, but I just don't think this day and age it's worthwhile putting up there when there's so many other better things that I have done. It's not the kind of thing that I add to my portfolio, but it's something that, again, it was where I was kind of sharpening my tools, shall we say. And now everyone wants to see it. I mean, to be fair, you guys are probably going to give me more views than it ever had anyway. You should show how you started it and never hide it. Laz says, what a banger. I've done much more better things since then. The stuff that will be added, that does get added to my portfolio of work that I have created and been a part of. But that, unfortunately, do you know what? I might even unhide it today for a couple of hours just so you guys can actually see it. But it's a terrible video. Terrible. Good example of how it started before it's how it was going. You know what? I didn't actually put a face cam on it for that particular one. I just used the webcam as the microphone. Because when you're writing reviews on video games, you don't tend to put your face on them. It's all about showing progress. I mean, yeah, nothing happens overnight. I mean, you'd see the progress. If you was here when I first joined Ice Cream Uploads, or again, like I mentioned, either yesterday or the day before, when I used to do the silent raves, when I used to play Pro Evo in my bedroom, or whether or not it was Radical Heights or Resident Evil, whatever it was that I was doing at the time, you'd see the progress between now. Then when I first moved into this room, when my desk was here and it faced this wall, you'll see the progress then. You see the progress now. So I feel like I don't need to show 10-year-old Bibby at that point. I feel like that's something that definitely should be left behind. We're not sponsored by Sneak, by the way. It's just something that I've had. I tend to use for football, but I forgot to make a drink before when the countdown was starting. So I had to run into the next room, grab my cup, get some water. Because, again, my throat was killing me. But anyway, enough about all that shit. I'll speak to you guys later on about some Dead Island stuff. But for now, in terms of my content creation way back then, but in terms of now, what we want to see now is some Dead Island 2 stuff, right? Right? I think so. So let's get into the first news article of today. This has been written on the Gamer by Joshua Robertson, and he states that Dead Island 2's release date has potentially leaked, coming February 3rd, 2023. A new Amazon listing has revealed a release date and plot details. Dead Island 2 looks to have finally resurfaced after years of troubled development, as a brand new Amazon listing has revealed a potential release date as well as several details about the game's plot and characters. First spotted by Twitter account Wario64, brand new Amazon listings for Dead Island 2 Day 1 Edition have been found for PlayStation 4, PS5, and Xbox Series X, with the new release date of February 3rd, 2023. The listing will also give us a fair amount of details regarding the potential plot, as Dead Island 2 will apparently take players to Los Angeles and will give them 6 different characters to choose from. A deadly virus is spreading across Los Angeles, California, turning inhabitants into ravenous zombies, reads the listing product in the description. The city is in quarantine and the military have retreated, bitten, infected, but more than just just immune. You learn to harness the zombie inside. Only you and a handful of other swaggering fellows who happen to be resistant to the pathogen holds the future of LA and humanity in the balance. As you uncover the truth behind the outbreak, you'll discover who or what you are. Survive, evolve, save the world, just another day in NA. It was claimed that Dead Island 2 would be re-revealed again at some point this year by reputable industry insider Tom Henderson, but he wasn't quite sure of when it would pop up. Seeing as though Amazon have several pre-orders listings ready to go, complete with box art, screenshots, it would be safe to assume that the game will probably be shown off during Gamescom opening night live next week. Either that, or Amazon is just super duper prepared. So let's go over to the listing over here then. This has been done by Wario64 over on Twitter. He's got a couple of screenshots here. Dead Island 2 Day 1 Edition PlayStation 4 is up for pre-order on Amazon at $69.99. That's US dollars, by the way. Dated February 3rd, 2023. This is a brand new listing for Amazon, and it's not the one that's been there for like 84 years. So this is Dead Island 2 Day 1 Edition. That's the front cover. I mean, this is probably screenshots from the PlayStation 4 edition because it doesn't look that great, does it? It doesn't look like a PlayStation 5 game. This doesn't scream as something that you think, shit, we've waited all this time for this. But who knows? Who knows? It might just be not that great visually. It might still look like a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox 360 game. Either way, it's a game that I am super, super looking forward to, and one that I cannot wait to get into as and when we're able to. So yeah, how many people have actually played the original the first Dead Islands, the original Dead Island? So you had Dead Island 1, and then you had Dead Island Riptide as well, which I was always like conflicted is the word I'm looking for as to whether or not Riptide was DLC for it or it was a completely different scenario for it, because it was still a 20-hour game. How long was it to beat Dead Island Riptide? How long to beat Dead Island Riptide? I'm going to say about 23 hours to complete the whole thing. Main storyline, maybe. There you go. Main story, 12 hours. Main and extras, 21 hours. Completion is 35 hours. That doesn't scream as a DLC for me. Obviously, it was sold as a standalone game anyway. But it's very difficult to understand why that wasn't Dead Island 2. But who am I to judge? We've waited so long for this now. We're going to have a third Dead Island game, which is technically the same. I mean, it's a Resident Evil scenario all over again. There's 101 different Resident Evil games. However, we're on Resident Evil 8. Do you know what I mean? We're on Resident Evil Village. That's what we're up to in terms of numbering games. But again, there's about 400 of them. Colonel says, so are you a fan of zombie games? Mate, I cut my teeth on zombie games. Before, you guys may have known me as playing Pro Evo and stuff like that. Survival horror games are my absolute bread and butter. They are the games that I love more than anything. I have a designated survival horror shelf up there with all classic survival horror games. Obviously, I have a Resident Evil 2 poster up here. Not the boy, he's right there. Resident Evil 2 poster up there that Graham actually got for my 30th birthday. It was what do they call them? Display, something like that. Yeah, he got me one of those. And then the classic Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 posters over there as well. Resident Evil is my favourite gaming series of all time, by the way, for those that didn't know that. It's closely followed by the likes of Pro Evo and stuff like that. But Resident Evil, always at the top. Survival horror games are my bread and butter. I absolutely love them. Lazar says, played both. I probably play most zombie games. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shit out there. I feel like the zombie games kind of have taken over the gaming industry, very much like what Battle Royale did. I feel like they're just not very good anymore. There's no imagination. It always seems to be the same thing over and over again. There's no different... like, State of Decay was a fresh air, because that felt like... It felt like The Walking Dead. Like when The Walking Dead was good, you had to build your own base. You had to go out. You had to defeat these zombies, and you had to take over different areas, go out scavenging, bring the stuff back, build your base up to make sure that when you bring and find other people around that haven't been taken by the undead, that you can bring them back, put them into your base, and then you're good to go. You can bring them out on the road. That was the best take on the zombie stuff that we've had in forever. But nowadays, it's like 7 Days to Die. It's an open world survival horror game. Base builder, got to go around salvage stuff. It was okay. It was a bit of a mess. Same with DayZ. DayZ was, again, one of my favourite games. At the time, I played that game religiously non-stop. Loved it. Now it feels so vanilla, a little bit boring, especially because I was playing at a time when it was so fresh and new in early access, that like the zombies was outpacing you, and they could walk through walls, so there was no point in you being able to lock yourself in a room and waiting for them to leave, wait for it to go dark or go light for you to be able to walk back out and get back on the road again. They just telepath through the walls and just kill you. You'd fall off a curb, roll your ankle, you need to go and find some splints and some wood. That's someone at the door. But yeah, there's just not enough newness out there for me, and I hope Dead Island is the kind of thing that we are looking for. Lazar says, Dead Island 1 took me for ages for the fact that I was at school at the time and only played like 2 hours a day, if that. Online campaign with my friends was my favourite bit, absolutely. Zombie Revenge on the Dreamcast was an absolute classic for me. I don't think I ever played that. But Zombie U was one of the reasons actually why I wanted a Wii U at the time. Never got one. I just waited for it to come out on the PlayStation 4, and it definitely... I'm glad that I didn't end up buying a Wii U for that game. I'm at your door, mate. Let me in. There's no way you're coming back down this part of the woods again for a long time. How long did it take you to get home, by the way? I don't actually know if anyone answered the door then, so I need to have a look at my ring very quickly. There's motion at your front door. Is someone still there? Is someone there? Tap to go live. I apologise. I don't think they are. Nope, they're not there. That's good. 2.5 hours. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. But yeah, Dead Island 2, 3rd of February next year. Something that I'm super looking forward to. It's probably going to be what date is that? Is that going to be a date where I'm at home? February 3rd. It's a Friday. Right? Okay, so I might even have some discussions about booking that off or using it as a launch day. Do you know what I mean? Just schmooze Graham a little bit and go, oh, Graham, Dead Island's coming out. It's a game that Bibi loves. It's a game that people want to see and stuff. We'll play that all day, yeah? Do you know what? He might even want to play it himself. We might end up getting 2 codes, and then be able to play that for both of us. That'll be a laugh, won't it? I mean, playing with friends on Dead Island's fantastic. It's a real laugh. Colonel says, I also have the original House of the Dead with light guns. The original one. What did you... It wasn't on PlayStation. Oh, on Dreamcast. That was it. Yeah, it came out on Dreamcast, innit? That's mega, that, to be fair. I've got House of the Dead. Is it? Can I see it? No, I can't see it. Yeah, I've got House of the Dead. It was one on the original Xbox. There it is, actually. House of the Dead 3. It's right next to Tiger Woods. Yeah, I got House of the Dead on the Xbox. That was a bit of a twat to play with a controller. I didn't have a light gun for that one. But let's move on to the next news story, shall we? We've been on this one for a while now. Again, this is obviously a dollop. We just fly through the news because no one wants to hear me waffling on for an hour. Did you guys know that QuakeCon is a thing? You should do. If anyone's involved in any video games, they should know what QuakeCon is. But did you also know that QuakeCon involves some new games coming onto Game Pass? Which, by the way, I don't have the chat on. Fuck. I'll do that as we're going through. But we have some QuakeCon news, which I'm going to bring up right on our screen right now. QuakeCon launches with 3 classic games on PC and Game Pass announcements written by Tom Ivan over at VGC, and he states that over 10 classic id Software games. Sorry, you didn't see that, but the chatbot just booted up in front of this screen. I can't start again. Over 10 classic id Software and Bethesda games will today be added to PC Game Pass or the Microsoft Store. Joining PC Game Pass today, I Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I've genuinely already downloaded that already. That is one of my favourite games of the PlayStation 2 generation. It's one that me and my granddad have completed 1,000,001 times. I'm going to revisit that again. Quake 4, Wolfenstein 3D, and Elder Scrolls Legends Battlespire, and the Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard. A new Game Pass perk will also enable players to unlock all champions in Quake Champions. The following titles will also be free today from the Microsoft Store: the Elder Scrolls Arena, Elder Scrolls Daggerfall, and Quake Champions. I thought Quake Champions was free anyway over on Steam. Could be wrong about that. And Heretic Serpent Riders, Hexen Beyond Hectic, and Hexen Death Kings will also be available to buy from the Microsoft Store. Publisher Bethesda announced that the PC Game Pass and Microsoft Store editions will coincide with QuakeCon 2022, which kicks off later on Thursday. I don't know if anyone's seen that on Twitch yesterday, actually, but they actually had the Quake Champions Esports Finals was being streamed yesterday, and my God, the people who play that are a different breed to us lot. They are unbelievable at playing that game. I'm so shit at it, but they play it so fast. Obviously, Quake is a very, very fast game. But anyway, I'll move on to the rest of the article. The event, which will be streamed only via Twitch, begins at 10 a.m. PT, 1 p.m. ET, and 6 p.m. BST. It will include presentations focusing on Redfall. Cannot wait for that game. The Elder Scrolls Online. What a game. Fallout 76. Got the game. Very rarely played it. And Ghostwire Tokyo, Quake, and more. Bethesda has said that fans can expect special appearances from developers and other personalities. Highlights from last year's QuakeCon include the surprise release of Quake 25th Anniversary Remaster, featuring new content from Wolfenstein developer Machine Games, which is currently working on an Indiana Jones game. Last year also featured a first in-depth look at Deathloop's multiplayer mode, Arcane Lion. So, for those of you that have Game Pass, get yourselves over there and go and get some Quake 4. I'm going to download that one. I've also already downloaded Return to Castle Wolfenstein, so I'm looking forward to potentially playing some of that later on tonight. Just for the nostalgia, just for the lols. Quake Champions, again, I do love a Quake game. I'm just super shit at them. And apparently the player base isn't that big anymore. So the people who you're going to be playing against aren't going to be bots. They are going to be people who have been playing the game for about 4,000 hours. So you're probably going to get your ass handed to you. One thing that did stick out for me, though, that I genuinely had no idea, being a massive Elder Scrolls fan, I didn't genuinely know that Elder Scrolls released a game called Redguard that was third person. It didn't strike me as a game that I actually want to install. Now, I do already have Elder Scrolls Arena, I have Daggerfall, I have Morrowind, I have Oblivion, I have most of them. This one, however, I think it's because it's a slight spin-off, with it being Adventures Redguard. It isn't a mainline game, and I think that's what caught me by surprise this morning, because I didn't actually know that it existed, and that is a bit embarrassing for a big Elder Scrolls fan. It's one of those that kind of went over my head. So when I looked at it this morning, it didn't strike me as a game where I thought, do you know what, I need to go back and play this because there might be something that I have missed completely. Now, you guys have seen me play Skyrim on this channel 1,000,000 times. I have probably streamed Skyrim. It's probably third in the amount of hours I have streamed on this channel. That's behind Pro Evo, and that's probably behind PUBG, because I obviously played a lot on Insert Coins and with Graham originally. So the fact that this game kind of passed me by overall is a little bit shameful. However, I'm going to bring on the screen what it genuinely looks like, and you tell me whether or not this is the kind of thing that I would be excited to play. Phil probably is going to say yes. But let me move this over a little bit. Nope, it's not that. Can I move this? There you go. It doesn't look the best, does it? It's a third-person game, by the looks of it. Again, I didn't know much about it. It doesn't look great. So I'm probably glad that I didn't really pay that much attention to it. It looks very Sinbad-ish, right? A third-person game like this, I can't imagine it did very well, is all I'm going to say. I can't imagine it did very well. Will I download it and give it a go, though? I don't know. I don't know if I want to, because I feel like it'd just annoy me more than anything. I do believe that going back and playing games that I have muscle memory with, like loading up a Resident Evil 1 now, a Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, I can load them up and be perfectly happy playing with tank controls because I have the muscle memory there to be able to do that. However, with a game like this, it looks so clunky. It's probably one that I'm going to get pissed off with and wish that I hadn't downloaded it, is what I'm trying to say. Ooh. Whoa, Elder Scrolls, that Bibby didn't know that. That does not look great, says JMK. Leather says, Pro Evo, oh, Bibby, you give me goosebumps. Exactly, mate. You know what I mean? Speaking of which, we've actually started playing PES in the office again. We've been playing PES 2021 because PES Universe did hook us up with a option file, which is on the big screen in the office now, and we've been having a lot of fun over the last couple of dinners getting back into it, playing with the updated teams and stuff in the office. That's been a hell of a ride the last couple of days. I got my ass handed to me by Jamie twice in a row on Wednesday. Then yesterday, redemption happened. Took a picture in front of the screen, changed his desktop wallpaper to the picture of me in front of the TV, pointing at the final results. He wasn't too happy about it. He's probably more pissed off at the fact that I didn't mention him beating me twice in the scoop that day. But it happens, do you know what I mean? It does happen. You have off days, and yesterday was a tactical masterclass. It felt like I was rolling back the years when it comes to playing Pro Evo. Playing is believing, sorry, couldn't help myself. Nicho says Sinbad, him off Brookside. Yes, mate. He stood next to Shadrach from Emmerdale. But yeah, there's a lot of games on that list. Like Return to Castle Wolfenstein, I'm looking forward to playing that one. Quake 4, I'm probably going to download that. It'll run like an absolute dream on this PC. And obviously Quake Champions as well. I feel like Quake 4's probably got more people playing it than Quake Champions, if I'm being honest. But there's a lot of games in that list. If you do have Game Pass, get over there, get yourself downloaded with them. Probably don't play Redguard. Probably not want to play Battle Spy either. I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be too good. But moving swiftly on, we've got 2 more news stories, including your favorite feature, which is Free Game Friday. But going into a game that looks, well, it has been cancelled, unfortunately. Back into the Marvel universe once again, we shall go. Written on VGC by Tom Ivan, he states that a cancelled Iron Man game from the studio behind Just Cause has been revealed. Sorry, I thought this was the cancellation one. I do apologise. Just Cause developer Avalanche Studios was working on an Iron Man game for 2 years before it was cancelled. I was right the first time. Sundberg, who left Avalanche in 2019 to form a new studio called Liquid Swords, discussed the aborted project during an interview in MinMax. He said the open world title was cancelled around 2012 following a couple of years in development due to company politics. Disney and Marvel reportedly wanted Avalanche staff to staff up rapidly in order to complete the game more quickly than originally anticipated. It would have been a mess by the end, he said. It was like a shortening development time, increased budget. We would have to hire 70 or 80 people to the team that would have had responsibility to find a new project for. But the development time was shortened down to so much it was impossible to do. We would have broken the studio completely if we had have agreed to do that. He elaborated, at the end of a project when the team is scaling down, that's when you have to find a new project. And with that 1 year of development time cut from the original plan, it meant that I would have 1 year less to find a new project for a big development team, which would have been impossible, and hiring all those developers would have been a complete nightmare, so it was for the best. Sundberg went on to describe the game as a very messy project that could have been really, really good. While the game had been enabled players to take off and fly anywhere, Sundberg said that it heavily focused on melee combat such as using Iron Man's repulsors to punch characters through walls. It was recently claimed that a reputable industry insider said that Electronic Arts would be making a single-player Iron Man game in addition to an unannounced Black Panther game. Sundberg's new studio Liquid Swords is currently developing a AAA game with Unreal Engine 5. The studio's website describes it as a connected single-player RPG and a hard-boiled take on an open-world crime genre. That sounds fantastic, if I'm being honest. That sounds really, really good. I want some of that. However, I was right originally. It was a cancelled Iron Man game. I thought that when I pulled the news together. The opening thing there kind of threw me a little bit. But anyway, an Iron Man game. Do I think it'll be a raging success? An Iron Man game this day and age. I feel like Just Cause is a successful game because it kind of takes your normal open world mechanics and goes a little bit batshit crazy with it. Like being able to jump out of planes, parachuting down from anywhere, firing a gun or like a what's it called, like a grapple gun, clinging onto stuff, flying through, like that kind of stuff doesn't usually happen all that often in an RPG game, and I feel like that's what made it fantastic in the first place. However, a Just Cause-ish engine with Iron Man in there. I mean, that's what Batman is, right? That's what Batman Arkham City is. You are the Batman going around the city with a load of gadgets and tools, fighting bad guys with melee combat. Do I think an Iron Man game would work in that basis? I'm torn. I've got splinters in my ass. I'm sat on a fence here because half of me thinks that'd be fucking awesome, wouldn't it? Being able to play a Batman-ish type game with Iron Man, being able to fight bad guys, and then being able to use your repulsors to push them through the wall. I think that would be pretty cool. Do I think that he's missed the boat, though? I think that one's open-ended. I feel like the height of Iron Man, this would have been fantastic. The height of Just Cause, this would have been fantastic. The height of the Batman games would have been fantastic. Do I think... I know Gotham Knights is around the corner, so it would be a little bit hypocritical for me to say that he's missed the boat in that respect, because we have a Gotham Knights game coming around the corner made by Rocksteady Studios. I don't know is my answer to this, because my head says yes, but my heart says no. Would I play it? Fuck yeah. Fuck yes, would I play an Iron Man game set in that setting with those mechanics? Yeah, that'll be awesome. Do I think it'll be a raging success, though? I don't know. And that's the issue. I think that's why people don't want to take the risk with it now. I feel like at the height of the Avengers, the height of the Iron Man franchise, I feel like it would have been a no-brainer. It would have made money. But now Iron Man, I mean... For the next 30 seconds, if you've not seen any of the Marvel films and still and are planning on doing skip forward 30 seconds, you'll be fine. But the fact that Iron Man is genuinely dead in the Avengers universe, I feel like it's been and gone. I feel like the time has been and gone for an Iron Man game. And that's a shame, because I do think now I'm talking about it more and what the settings could genuinely be, I think it would have kicked a lot of ass. So, I don't know. I don't even know. Neil says I would have played it. Chief Vish with the little wave. How you doing? Best Marvel hero in my opinion, says Neil. He says boat sailed. Lotus is screaming, my mind's telling me no. Graham would have gone heart and soul into that. It'd have been air dragging. It'd have been air punching. A lot of air stuff. Colonel says Doctor Strange would have been mad though due to the magical dimensions. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the new Doctor Strange film, so the verdict is still out as to whether or not it's still relevant. I 100% still think it is. I don't know what happens in the film. Don't know whether or not he dies or whatever, but still, I think there's still time for that. Lazar says the game is near. But yeah, I mean, if we do end up getting one, I think it will have to do something a little bit different, and that's difficult. But I'm not the one making the games. I'm just the one that plays them and talks about them. Do you know what I mean? Impress me, and I will talk about your game. If you don't, I'm probably either going to skip over it, or I'm going to say it's not a very good game. That's what video game journalism is about, right? Right? You just have to find enough people that actually care about your opinion to be able to write about stuff, which is exactly what didn't happen with my original Dead Island stuff. Anyway, we've got one more news article. It's not really a news article, it's more a PSA. So get your pens and papers out, or get your Epic store open right now, because this game is a stone cold banger. It's already in my library, because as soon as I opened it this morning, I was like, fucking dead right, I'm getting this. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, PC Gamer, Morgan Park, What's free on the Epic Game Store right now? Pens and paper, are you ready? Can you see it yet? Are you excited? Ladies and gentlemen, it is Doom 64. What a game. Massive fan of the Doom franchise. Love Doom. I think it's probably, well, it is. It's the godfather of first-person shooters. Obviously, the likes of Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, Battlefield, blah, 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 all have taken the ball and ran with it. They are colossus games. However, Doom, the daddy of all FPS games. I mean, you can throw in Wolfenstein there as well, because that arguably was one of the first. But still, Doom sets the tone. You also have obviously Quake in there as well, but Doom is by far my one of my favorite FPS franchises of all time. It's just unbelievable. Junior, you can use the engine clearly. 97. I was -2, says Lazar. This wasn't. It didn't come out in enhanced version of 1997's Doom 64, right? Yeah, I thought it was a little bit older than that. I thought, when did I play this? Then it definitely wasn't 97 when I first played this. It might have been 99. It might have been 99 the first time that I played it. I can't remember. I was born in 1990, so it would have been around that period, but I can't remember what year it would have been, because I never had a Nintendo 64. My friends did. I had a PS1. I'm leaning towards 98, 99. I don't ever remember playing this on launch anyway. But regardless, Doom 64 is available for you right now over on the Epic Game Store. So if you haven't played it before, I have actually recently played this. You've probably seen it on my Xbox profile, actually, because it was part of it is on Game Pass. So I have been playing this recently. I was playing it in the office maybe 2 weeks ago, because I've got an Xbox on my desk there. So I was playing this. If you was used to playing these games back then, it holds up. If you wasn't, and you're playing it for the first time, you're probably not going to like it. Is all I'm going to say. But in my eyes, it still holds up. It's a fantastic game. Get it added to your library if you've not already done so. You're probably going to have a good time. Bibby, what is Doom 2? Doom 64. I don't understand. I don't understand. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today's episode of The Scoop. We will be back tomorrow. I say we. Graham will be back tomorrow because it's my best mate's wedding. I'm probably going to be non-existent on Sunday, so I did make you all aware that there isn't going to be a stream on Sunday. I don't think that's ever going to change. I'm going to be an absolute mess. So yes, Graham will be back tomorrow with some PUBG action. We will be back. I will be back on Monday with the start of next week's episodes of The Scoop. So if you want to help shape that show, there is 2 ways that you can do so. First of all, find us on social media. It is at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, or alternatively, get involved with our Discord. All the links that you require will be listed in the video below if you're watching this in any of our on-demand services. But you can find us on all social media. It's at Ice Cream Uploads across everything. You can't really fuck that up. So if you want to help shape the shows, all we need from you is a URL plus your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which will be at 10 a.m. on Monday, right on the dot. It's probably not going to be. It's probably going to be around 11 o'clock again. But what we're going to do, stick around. We're going to find someone to raid. We're going to send you over to one of our friends who looks like they need some loving on this Friday afternoon. What I want you to do is just drop in, even if it's a hi and bye. If you do have any of our emotes, please feel free to stick them into their chat. Just wave to them, say good afternoon, top of the afternoon to you, or whatever it is that you want to say to them. We're going to send you over to, I'll tell you what, insert coin are playing Power Wash Simulator, and that is definitely a Zen game if ever I'd heard one. So please feel free to go over. We are part of Coin Army. But as always, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to do this for you. And until next time, there's one thing that I want you to do, and that, my friends, is to stay frosty.